Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast MMA edition. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. We're going to be recapping some things that happened in the world of mixed martial arts while we were away. But obviously the biggest thing, we know what's on the horizon. UFC 309, Jones, Stipe. We are going to be breaking down that fight and the rest of the card, but we know you're here to hear about
Doing
what we think about this
fantastic. I
Jon
mean,
Jones Stipe fight.
we're
So we got the
almost
MMA
a
expert, Mr.
week
Chuck
out
Marlowe. How are you
almost
doing today, sir?
from a Jon Jones fighting again. After a year layoff, it's a good time. It's a good time.
hmm Yeah, and we are going to talk about that a lot this episode.
So I
Before
mean,
we get to that, we are
we
going to pay
just
respects to
recovered
things that
from
happened
UFC
previously. Chuck, what's been
308. That was the
happening leading
last
up to
big
this
main
event?
one. That was Tapiera and Max Holloway. And I mean, did that fight deliver? That was a good fight. Like just overall, I think from the
hmm
stand up and the high level striking. From a high level striking side, I think anyone would like it. From a casual side, I think they would like it because it's just a lot of punches being thrown. I think it was 75 to 79 significant strikes in favor of Max Holloway. But when Ilya was touching him, he was like touching him and he was like making him feel his power. I mean, Holloway had some rounds in there. He definitely won. And I think that there was a lot more he could do. But I mean, to see him get knocked down and knocked out for the first time by Ilya, Ilya really has showed up and he's arrived. He showed that he is here in the featherweight division and here to last for a while. I mean, he's beat Volkanovski and Max Holloway already. I mean, he's gone through a lot of that flyweight division already. So, I mean, maybe they got a new guy on the top. So we'll see. It looks like it so far. I mean, you can
What's
only
next for
keep
him
on
then? If you already just
fighting
say he's beat
everyone in
some
your
top
division, or you
dudes
can move up in your division.
already,
I
where
mean,
can
I
he go
think
from here?
at this point, you wait for Diego Lopez, and that's your next fight, most likely. I mean, you've already beat the 1 and 2 contender. Yair, someone you've already walked through. You give someone like Diego Lopez a chance, and that's a big fight because I mean, Diego Lopez is on a tear, so the way he's tearing through the roster, to see that fight would probably be huge. But you want to see him test his luck against a Max Holloway or a Volkanovski, maybe. But the thing is, you don't want those two gatekeeping from anyone else getting a chance at the title if they can't even beat Ilya. So we'll see how that plays out. But there's a lot of different other people in that division also. I mean, that you have to worry about. I mean, you got Masbar Elov, you have Ortega, Arnold Allen, Josh Emmett, Cater, Sterling, Leron Murphy, Danny Ige when he's winning. Um, so it's a very tough division. So we'll see if they maybe do that Lopez next. I think that makes the most sense. I mean, it's your first time getting
And
knocked
then where
down and
does
knocked out in a fight.
Max go from here
Take some
taking this
time, maybe
defeat?
6 to 12 months. Take a little bit of layoff, heal up, recover from the brain damage and everything from getting knocked out. Get your chin back in a good position and work on some boxing, work on some high level striking, and watch some film during that time. See where you made your mistakes, see where you had success, redraw, revisit the game plan to see what you can do and come back and try and win again. Let me look one more
Anything
time
else
at
on
this
this
card.
card,
I mean,
Chuck,
Robert
that
Whitaker and Khamzat
surprised you in
Chimaev.
any
I mean,
way?
that stuck out. I mean, we could all say that definitely stuck out. Khamzat showed up. I mean, to have to go against someone like Robert Whitaker, I mean, who was a champion in the middleweight division, who can trying to get back to the championship level he was at. And I mean, he's shown that he's beat top level fighters in that middleweight division. So for Kamzat to walk through him and push his teeth back into his damn mouth, like that was absurd. And it just shows that Kamzat is fine whenever his own immune system isn't attacking him. That's his worst enemy right now. It's his immune system. look out for Magomed Ankalaev. I feel like a lot of people were thinking that
Okay.
Alexander
Okay. Anything
Rakic
else, Chuck?
with with like where he was at. They thought that he was going to take over and like really kind of put it on Magomedov, and he was going to or Magomed and really just kind of outclass him and outstrike him. And Magomed really showed that he has high level striking, and he's meant to be in that light heavyweight discussion for potentially one of the other people to go against Alex Pereira.
Chuck, in the other worlds of fighting, again, before we get to the main event, we had a former world champ of
Yes,
UFC.
indeed.
He
Yes,
fought
indeed.
recently and dominated Francis Ngannou. What are your thoughts on when you saw his recent match? Him still, him and Dana. I don't know
I think he
what's
looked
ever going to
great.
be
I
with
mean,
that.
whenever you see
But
him knocking somebody out
would you
or
do you
really
think he looked good
smashing
in his
someone's
recent
face into the
match?
ground, you always know that Francis is just, he is such a powerhouse. It is disgusting how good he is and how much power he has. Because, I mean, looking at people get hit by him, it looks insanely like, it just looks insane. Like, I would never even try and stand up with that man. I mean, I wouldn't even, don't let him take it to the ground either because he took it to the ground and he just ground and pound and beat his face in. So, I mean, Francis is just always sensational, high level athlete, high level striker for someone of his size. And when I say high level striker, I just mean with the power he can generate. It's just insane. And I mean, I hope him and Dana can always, at some point, mend fences. I think that, like he said, like Dana said, and like Francis said, I mean, I think that's one thing hold up that mega fight because John probably definitely can't do that without Dana's okay. And Dana's probably like, hell no, we're not going to do this shit because he's not here anymore. This isn't like, and he just like, I'm not going to promote him anymore, draw any more attention than he's already drawing. So I don't know. I just hope that they can. And his son just died not too long ago, and he's still mending that. So like, just kind of don't let's just both sides. Let's just be chill. I mean, it always definitely starts
Hmm.
with what Dana says because he's a little over the top, but still, I wish they could come to an agreement. That's what the people want.
No, I agree. And Chuck, just a crazy thing too, like we're gonna be talking about UFC 309, that's on November 16th, but another big fight, if you want to call it that, is
Yep,
happening
on
November
Netflix.
15th.
So if you got
The
a
Paul
Netflix
and
subscription,
Tyson fight,
is
they're gonna be
no
in the
charge to
same
you.
weekend. I mean, this is
I'm
right
gonna
before
watch
jump.
it for
Like,
the
how
sake
much
of
time are you
combat
gonna put
sports, and
into
it's
this? Are
Mike
you gonna
Tyson. But
watch it? Like,
I, I,
what are you
I don't
expecting out
know.
of
I
this?
feel so many different ways about this. Like one, if Mike Tyson loses, I feel like it's rigged, and this is definitely just the end of combat sports. Two, I mean, I don't expect much from a 50-something-year-old Mike Tyson. He is 50-something, so trying to keep some realistic expectations, but they're also gassing him up. They're glazing them over here talking about how, oh, Mike, I've never seen you train like this. I don't know. There's a video online of, I can't remember his name, but he was sitting there just like, oh, this is the best shape. Like, we've seen Mike Tyson in way better shape than this before. So, like, I feel like they're just trying to, like, build something up to what it's not. And I hope that's not the case. So then that way it's like, oh, he beat Mike Tyson, one of the greatest ever. Like, he's 50 something, man. Like, come on. So I don't know. I'm giving it a gambler's perspective. I'm going to watch and just watch from a gambler's perspective.
Yeah, because you do know there will be
Oh,
some
yeah.
money
I don't
thrown
know if you want to bet on this one. I've been looking
on
at the
these
lines
past
early and I'm
two
like, I
these
need them to
weekends.
adjust some
That
of these
weekend,
lines. Some people are some hardcore favorites and are really shown to win. And like, but we'll get in that later. I'm not going to spoil that part.
absolutely, absolutely. All right. UFC 309, November 16th, 10 p.m. at the Mecca, Madison Square Garden in New York. Chuck, Jon Jones hasn't been around so long. He's in the main event with Stipe.
Um,
Before we get to
Looking at it
that,
top to
what do
bottom,
you think of this
there's
card?
some talent sprinkled in pretty much almost everywhere on here. And I think it's a really good card. I think you got a lot of big name fights. You have some no name fights. You have some new people. When I say no name, I mean just new people in general, the other people who are coming in. So they're going to be like, who's this guy? So I think there's some big heavyweight fights thrown in here. There's some welterweight bouts. You got some good knockout power caliber fights on here too. Yeah, so I think that overall it has some potential, and I want to see how these fights shake out. And we'll see. We'll see once it's all over. But I mean, right now it's looking like solid 8.9, 8.7. I'll say 8.7 out of 10 on the scale.
Okay, okay. So then let's start and work our way. We won't talk about every match, obviously, but we'll talk about a good amount. First, start in the early prelims. What's a match you were excited
Um,
for the early prelims, and a match that
Really,
the casual should
I'd
tune
say
in?
Mickey Gall and Ramirez. I think that's a good welterweight bout to Mickey Gall, who's been in the UFC for a little bit. I think that
Okay.
it's a name that some people would know, even the casual probably heard Mickey Gall and Ramirez. He's coming up there. These are two fighters coming off a loss. I think both need to rebound and they need to move their career along a little bit, and they need to get a statement win here. And I think that would significantly help one of them move up and maybe get somewhere into maybe a main card type of fight, and move them up the rankings a little bit. I mean, well, neither of them are ranked, but one of them are going to move up to maybe get a ranked fighter.
Let's
Personally,
call it. Who do
I'm
you
going to
got in
have
this
to
one?
go with
Because odds are
Ramirez.
pretty, they're pretty
I think he's
close.
going to maybe try and take. I think he's going to get a little bit aggressive into this fight, knowing that he needs like to show off and get something drawing fans. That's how I'm going to state it. He needs to get a statement win. So I'm gonna go with Ramirez because I think he's gonna try and push the gas tank a little bit on him.
Okay. 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 Great. See, now there's that. Then we go from early prelims to regular prelims. What matches are you
First
excited
off,
on
I'm
the
excited that there's
prelims,
just
and
Jim Miller
what
on a
matches
prelim
should
on UFC
people
309.
pay
There's one of the
attention to on the
longest
prelims?
fighters in the game, Jim Miller. But definitely, I'd be looking at Nikita Krylov and
Mhm.
Azamat. I'm not going to ever pronounce his last name correctly, so I'm not going to try it. You have an undefeated fighter looking to really showcase something. Two ranked fighters, also both coming off of wins. They're in that light heavyweight. You want to try and move up in this division because I mean most people are in the way right now just to try and get to Alex Pereira. You're gonna need a statement win. And you're gonna need to do something in good fashion. So I'm looking for Nikita Krylov to come out here and really like stop this guy on his streak and show like, hey, look, I've learned, I've really progressed in my career, or Azamat to ride this hot streak right now, stay undefeated, and showcase like, hey, look, all right, I'm beating some of your top guys. Like, give me someone else so I can move up in the light heavyweight division. Um, Jonathan Martinez and Marcus McGee for sure. I mean, that's one of the closest scraps
Any
you
other
got on this
fights
prelims card.
on this prelim?
And this one's a toss up. That's the reason why I say watch this. You have two bantamweight fighters, one coming off a loss, one coming off a win. I mean, it's going to be a quick fight. They're going to be scrapping. They're really going to be sitting there pushing the pace. So that's one I would watch if I was just a casual fan because it's going to be a lot of punches thrown, I feel like.
All right, all right. Main card. The main card. Let's start at the bottom.
Yeah,
Ruffy versus James. This is
and
a
I can explain this big spread
big
right now. All over
spread.
TikTok right now, they
Uh,
are gassing up
whew.
Mauricio Rufy as the next Conor McGregor with the level of
Okay.
his movement, his style, just the way it looks. If you compare them both, with their movement and everything else, and I mean, I can see why the comparisons are there. Um, the flow, the state of mind he gets into, his striking is really good, and I mean, if you're getting comparisons to Connor, people are definitely going to, and you're already 10-1. I think people are going to definitely already get attracted to that. And they're like, oh man, look, this guy could be something big. So, I mean, you get your first, they're on a UFC 309 with Jon Jones fighting, and you're on a main card fight against a good, considerable opponent. But this is someone they're just kind of tossing to you to like, hey, look, show why we think that you're maybe the next Conor McGregor. So, I'm looking out for that fight. I want to see how it works. When I'm getting into these parlays and stuff, fights like these, I'm gonna have to do some like, hey, Mauricio Rufy by knockout. Like these are the fights I look at that are like, man, the lines are really significant at minus 750. You don't really want to throw that in a parlay if you're trying to make some decent money. But if you put it by knockout, you can group it with some other stuff and some of these other closer fights. And I'll have something definitely out for you guys by fight time because I'm looking to cook some stuff up for this weekend for sure. Oh, just wait till you go up and look at the next fight.
Man, but that's still such 750 to plus 525. All right, then let's go to the next fight. We all know who Bo Nickel is against Paul Craig and
And
sweet
he's gonna go out here and make a
Jiminy.
statement win.
What
I
is
mean,
going on? Minus, I
Paul
don't think I've
Craig
ever
is a
seen a
great
minus
fighter.
1,000
I like Paul
before.
Craig. I think he's been showing on like he was on a great path until he started losing. I mean that's just like every fighter. But Bo Nickel, I mean 6-0, and you see the hype that's around Bo Nickel right now. And I'm telling you, this crowd is going to be insane for Bo Nickel. I mean, all right, let me just we already know what happened. It was election time. We know who won. Politics aside, this stadium is going to go insane because he's going to be there at the fight. He's already said it. If he lost, he's going to be at home and be depressed. If not, he's going to be there. And Bo Nickel is one of the fighters he's looking to watch. And Bo Nickel loves this guy, loves Trump, and Trump loves Bo Nickel. They're going to go crazy, and Bo Nickel is going to want to go out and make a statement win. He's gonna want to show why he needs to go and fight for the belt next. And he's got to make a statement win for behind the crowd who's going to be going crazy insane for him and for many other reasons too. And it's going to be insane. I'm looking forward to see what Bo Nickel can do because he has to really. It's either you're going to fall flat on your face or you're going to go out and make a statement win. I mean, he's only already made statement wins in the UFC, so people want to see what he's going to do next.
All right, all right. Moving up next, you got the
Yeah,
ladies.
so
I
Vivian,
will let you.
uh,
They don't even have Oscar number.
Kareem,
Chuck, I'll let you
Silva.
pronounce their names and give
I
you the
mean,
give the
you got
thoughts.
two high level strikers from the last fights I've seen. I think Vivian, she's at 4.11 strikes landed per minute. She doesn't have really good defense, so I want to see if she improved her uh, stand up defense against Korean Silver. You're going to have a high level striker who has some decent grappling coming from that Brazilian background. So look for her to try and take it down to the ground and try and get in some finishing moves. We can see what Viviane can do as far as trying to keep it on the feet and see if she can push a pace and keep Kareem kind of distant from trying to get in there and kind of grapple with her. So we'll see how she does against her submission with her submission defense as well. So I think that's going to be a very striking versus grappling type of fight. But I think Korean also has some decent stand up and to maybe showcase some things. I think that's a toss up type of fight. Hopefully, we'll see.
Okay. Then you move into the lightweight bout. Charles, Michael, This is one of the finally odds wise. This is pretty closer than what we've been
All
talking
right, both of
about.
these guys are coming
Charles
off
is the
losses.
favorite
They're
at
in
this
the lightweight
moment.
division, which right
What do
now
you
is
got in
getting
this one?
ran by the guy named Islam Makhachev. Yeah, this is this is a get back fight. Charles or not Charles. Michael Chandler is looking to get his get back against Charles Oliveira, and he's trying to move on from Conor McGregor because no one knows when Conor McGregor is going to get back, or if he's even going to get back to the UFC at any point. Because he looks like he's way more concerned about partying, drinking, and doing lines of cocaine. So Charles, I'm glad that you helped Michael move on. I hope this is a great fight. I mean, last time they fought, it was great. Charles was stumbling because he got rocked by Michael Chandler, comes back, rocks Michael Chandler, puts him in a submission, and gets it done. I'm looking forward to this fight. Both of these guys are trying to come off of losses. So, I mean, some guy has to get a win to move up in this division and stay relevant. And some guy's going to kind of is going to lose, and they're going to start to see this try and decide if they are washed. And I don't know. I really don't know. I think it's going to be Charles Oliveira who comes on top because I mean he's just one of those high level strikers and such a great fighter and he knows how to just adapt. And I mean we haven't seen Michael Chandler in a while. Neither have we seen Charles Oliveira in a while either. But from what we know and last seen from Charles and how Michael's been waiting out for so long for Connor, those layoffs. So hopefully that hasn't hurt or impacted his career in any way or shape or form. I'm liking Charles up for sure. I'm definitely, I, I, I
So
don't
you're
see how he
liking
doesn't get it done again.
like Charles. Okay, okay. Now you got the event that everyone's coming to see. You got the challenger, Stipe, record 20-4, a former world champion, versus Jon Jones, who everyone pretty much proclaims a GOAT, 27-1. He has not fought in over a year's time. This match was made last fight that Jon Jones had was Gane, and the last fight that Stipe fought, which I thought was his last one, he lost to Ngannou. Oh, Chuck, before we get to who you're picking in this one, just want to start with the challenger, Stipe. No slouch to the world heavyweight division, been a champion. What are his keys? Like, if you're in Stipe's
You have
camp,
to be
what are you
alert.
telling him he needs to
You
do to
have to
pull
be on your
off
feet.
this
You have
upset?
to be, you have to watch John. You need to really not get mesmerized by him and just be like watching him. You need to push your pace. But don't make mistakes. And if you're going to make a mistake, make sure you're being aware of what's going on around you because John likes to key in on mistakes. He likes to key in where people aren't paying attention or slacking, and he likes to change things up. He's very unpredictable. Um, you should be continue to work on your wrestling. I mean, you saw in his last fight versus Cyril Gane, he just took him down and then just kind of got to him and choked him out, and then that was it. I mean, John was quick as lightning and he got the job done. I think John also, I mean, he looks in better shape. He doesn't look like he looked originally when he got to heavyweight. Because when we first saw him, everybody was like, "Oh, okay, we thought we were gonna get like steroid looking Jon Jones, like ripped, insanely shredded at 250 pounds, like looking like Ngannou damn near." This time we look like we actually got a, a decently ripped Jon Jones who's in good physique. And I want to see if this is really his retirement fight. We'll get to that later. And see if he can put on some more muscle.
And then now, if you're in Jon
I'm
Jones's
telling him to
camp,
really watch for the
what are
grappling,
you
watch for the
telling
wrestling with
him
Stipe.
on how to beat
He's a
Stipe?
great wrestler, but I mean, he's not going to go out and try and take him down necessarily too much. I think both fighters have really decent takedown uh, defense. But yeah, with John, I'm going to tell him you got to watch out for Stipe's striking. His striking is actually really good. Once he takes some time to really get going because he's just reading what you're doing and he's trying to figure out where his best attacks can go. So like with the fight with Daniel Cormier, he was sitting there taking so long to figure out that the body was there. But as soon as he started touching the body and he started really getting to him, which was like by the third round, he started to really notice, oh, okay, I'm doing damage with going to the body. Like he picks up on it, but once he picks up, then sometimes it takes him a while to really game plan against it. So push the pace on him. Don't let him really get to assuming on what you're doing next and keep him on his toes, which you're best at doing, and just be unpredictable, key in on the mistakes, and just stalk him pretty much.
Okay. Okay. And then right now, currently, odds can change. Right now, Jones minus 600, Stipe plus 440. Chuck, both these fighters, it's kind of weird in this main event. Both of them are coming off
Um,
of a layoff. They both haven't fought
I'd
in a minute. Who
say
do you think that's going to affect more?
I'm trying to think. I'd probably say Stipe because his last fight was what March 27th. And John's last it was March 27th, 2021. Yeah, and I
Hmm.
think John's was like March 23rd, 2024 was his last fight or 2023. Yeah, 2023 because it's been like a year or so. So, I mean, the longer it's a way, 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 way
Hmm.
longer layoff. And that was his last fight against Francis Ngannou. It's insane though. It's insane because that's 3 years, 3 years and some change. So a lot of things changed since then. I mean, he could have also changed a lot since then. So you've seen it with Colby Covington, you've seen it with people like Conor McGregor, you've seen it with other fighters. I've said it time and time again. Layoffs can hurt fighters, especially if you're not active in fighting or not actively going out and doing things and constantly on your game and constantly trying to craft and get better. It can hurt you. So hopefully he's been in his craft and he's been in his bag and he's been training because having a layoff like that can really kill fighters. So we'll see. And I know John loves fighting. He takes it to like he takes it every day. He goes at it. And I mean, I think once he got that shoulder injury, he was really just trying to rehab and get back as soon as possible. And he looked like he wanted to sculpt his body, and he actually really wanted to take being at the heavyweight division very seriously. He wanted to have the mold, and he did the work. And it looks like he has the mold, unless he went back to PEDs, and that's why he was pissed off with the drug reinforcement at his door. But anyway, um, we'll see. I think it'll affect Stipe more, but you just never know with these things. It could have been a blessing for him to have that time off. He could have got really back into the grind and got in the lab and rebuilt himself, or could have just been kind of like, eh. And he's just coming back for one last fight to chase that bag, this super fight.
And Dana doesn't wants us to go without a hitch. Chuck, they
Tom
already have a.
Aspinall.
If one of these two drop up, there's a
And
backup
I
fighter ready
mean,
to go.
that's what Dana, or not Dana, that's what Tom wants really
Hmm.
bad. He wants to fight Jon Jones. And all the UFC fans everywhere are saying Jon Jones is ducking Tom Aspinall. John, time after time, saying why he wants to do this fight against Stipe and what it means to him and how this is maybe potentially his retirement fight. So I don't know. Tom would love for a last second withdrawal from Stipe. He would love for that. And that'd be insane if it happened, number one. And number two, it's just like I could see if they did some WWE scripting and just have Tom Aspinall just running out of the back, like, no, no, I'm cashing in. I'm cashing in the belt. I'm cashing in the interim belt. This is my time. This is have some like long speech, and then Dana just comes out like, you know what? Give him to the like you tonight. You go one on one with Jon Jones, kind of like with the Undertaker, and it would be interesting if this is where they finally merge the collaboration, and the fans would go insane and they would love it. That's the unfortunate thing
That would
about
be
it.
absolutely crazy. Yeah, that would be wild. That'd be wild. Um, just saying, if something did
I
happen to
think
Stipe, would
he
you like
would
his
be
chances against
probably a
Jones?
plus 200
Dom
underdog,
Aspinall.
maybe plus 150. That's probably what they would give him just because it's Jon Jones and they're going to always
Oh,
give Jon
okay.
Jones favorite. But they would definitely make it a lot closer than it is with Stipe because Tom Aspinall's faster. I mean, he's younger, he has more youth to him, he has upside, and he's a good fighter for sure. Would I hope he gets to fight Jon Jones so they can put that to rest.
Okay.
I
All right.
don't know because like
You've
the
already been
shape and
unlaying
condition he
it.
looks in
Do you
looks
think
like
this is the
someone who
retirement
actually wants to
match?
continue to do this for a while. Other part of me tells me it could be because maybe he's actually starting. I mean, he hasn't really gotten in much trouble besides that whole incident, and I mean, he's doing anger management courses and everything else. And we'll see if that helps or what in regards that's to. He doesn't seem to be out partying and getting in too much trouble anymore. That's what we know of. And so we'll see. Um, Maybe he wants to just be a dad. He doesn't want to do too much damage to his body. Maybe he's seen what's happened to his brother with combat sports and how it's affected his psyche. So I mean, he could be taking it serious for all we know. And you just never really know what's
Mhm.
on a person's mind. And then he might be at home and he might be watching Tom Aspinall saying, "Oh, well, good thing you're retired and you get to duck me anymore. I get to go on and fight and actually get to hold the belt. You're not holding me back." And he might go get Twitter fingers mode. And then they'd be like, "Yeah, you really got to go back. You got to defend yourself." And
Mhm.
something, it's just like the Green Goblin looking at the mask. Like he wants to put it back on. So it's always something that eats at athletes and true competitors
Mhm.
that really makes them want to come back. So you
Yep.
never know.
Yep.
I don't rule it out and I can't rule it out.
No, I agree. I agree.
Oh,
What?
Jon Jones. I
All
mean, I
right.
can't bet against Sean. Can't bet
Who you
against
taking
him.
in this?
And with that layoff with Stipe, I just really don't think that layoff helped him in any type of way. Most of the time, it never really helps a fighter. So I'm definitely going with John. I mean, he's also want to go out on a retirement with a bang. So I definitely think he's going to want to go out there and try and get a finish too, potentially for the fans, because he wants to go out as the undisputable GOAT. So he's going to try and go and make a statement win. Yeah, probably. I don't unless he really wants to start
And
getting
Stipe,
active
this got to
again.
be his
Stipe
last
likes
fight,
to be
doesn't
chill,
it?
it seems like, and he's fine with being ducked off and relax and just open up a new gym in Parma, another strong style. So
Now, if Jon Jones, the unthinkable
probably not.
happens,
I
and he
don't think
loses
he
this
would be able to
fight,
live within
do
a
you think he
normal
would still
loss.
retire?
And it being a definite loss, especially if it's a definite loss, I don't think he'll be able to live with that on his conscience. Even if it was like a close loss, I feel like maybe he would be Twitter fingers about it for the rest of his career. And maybe people would debate about if it was another loss, like how the no contest that's on his record shouldn't even be on his record because the guy's hand was lifted off the ground. And now, if you have one hand on the ground, it's legal. So it definitely should be lifted potentially. So I don't know. I think that if he lost, he definitely wouldn't probably retire.
Mhm.
I'd say round
All
four.
right, so you got Jones. What
Stipe,
round you got Jones winning
if
in?
it's normal Stipe, with the tank on him and he's able to take some shots, I say round 4, round 3 out of respect. But if he's like washed Stipe, it might be round 2, round 3. I'd say probably round 3, round 4, around those areas. But I would be making a bet for those specific rounds by knockout or submission in those rounds.
I was just about to say too, what you think not what you think of knockout submission, like what you just answered that. Chuck, this is big, man. Like this could potentially be Jon Jones' last fight
Yeah,
in the
and I mean,
UFC.
like,
We'll know if
there's
he
no
wins in that
real like
presser. Like
interviews
Stipe
for
is
this.
no
Yeah, there's
slouch.
no real
This is gonna
like.
be a hell of a main
It's
event.
kind of insane how quiet it's been for it, honestly, because how much buildup you think would have come with it. But both fighters have been kind of chill, laid back, and they're two chilled, laid back individuals. So we'll see. I'm excited for this fight. I mean, I can't wait. And New York is the home of Trump, so you know they're
Oh yeah,
definitely
atmosphere is
about
gonna
to
be
be.
crazy. Madison Square Garden, the whole nine.
Even though they're a Democratic state and
Good.
they were blue, they're gonna go nuts because the
Oh yeah.
UFC fans are definitely red.
Yeah, they're gonna go wild. They're gonna go wild. With that being said, man, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. Make sure you like, rate, comment, subscribe wherever you listen to. Be on the lookout November 16th for Chuck's UFC parlays. This is such a big UFC event. You know Chuck is gonna have some plays for everyone from just the basic money lines to getting knocked out from certain rounds, getting exact results. Like be on the lookout November 16th. Maybe he starts right. Maybe he starts at 8 a.m. Maybe he starts at 12. Who knows?
Yeah,
But
once these improved
you got to be
lines are
following Chuck
dropped,
on
I will
Twitter
definitely be because
and you get the
I
word out
was
that the
going through
Chuck
today and I'm
parlays
like I
are
can't even
out.
make anything. Most things are locked that I want to use. I think the week out after this fight this weekend with Magny, I think that's when they're going to drop the lines a little bit better and drop some more chances. Well, drop a lot more of the props.
Gotcha. Gotcha. And if you're not following Chuck, make sure you're following him. If you're coming home late from an event that Saturday and you don't have one of those big screens you can watch in your car, go to Chuck's Twitter. He'll be posting. He gives updates after every big fight on big fight night cards. Make sure you're following Chuck on Twitter. I'll have his Twitter name in the description box. And with that being said, L7C podcast, we're going to be back because the pay-per-view like this, we're going to be reviewing it immediately. So be on the lookout for the review of the pay-per-view as well. With that being said, L7C signing out.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.